Hey guys, it's Emily, and this is my second video where I talk about my favorite books of the year. Not all of these have come out last year, but these are my favorite books that I read last year in 2015. This isn't in any particular order except for which books I read first in the year. The first book I read last year was The Archived by Victoria Schwab. Really enjoyed the way that this story was written. I can't wait to read the second book. I really want to do that this year and have it be one of the first books that I read. Or at least finished in the year. I think I gave it 5 stars on Goodreads. But I'll leave all the Goodreads links for these books that I mentioned in the description box below, so you can check that out and you'll be able to see, if you're friends with me on Goodreads, then you can see my ratings for it, but my Goodreads link will also be down below as always. This next book was one that I read at the beginning of the year as well. It took me like a month or so to actually get to just reading this book because I had so many that I was reading, but it's the Retribution Mara Dyer by Michelle Hodkin. It's the third book in the Mara Dyer trilogy and the last one. I gave this book 5 stars because this is one of my favorite additions to the trilogy. It might be the biggest one, but I don't have the same kinds of editions of these books. I don't have the Evolution in the same edition, but I feel like this is the biggest book and it has so much in it. And there's going to be a spin-off series about Noah Shaw. But I had so much fun reading this. I would get so scared and I would stay up late reading it, even though it's a really scary book to me. Scariest out of the 3 in my opinion. But it was just so much fun, and I love the characters in this book and just the story and how it ends. If you haven't read any of the Mara Dyer trilogy books, do it. The next book is one that I don't own, but it is one that I, not rented, one that I checked out at the library, and I have a book talk for it. I have had a book talk for the first 3 books in this video so far, so I'll have those links down below too, because there's these are my favorite ones, and I always pick some of the best books that I've read to do a video about. Chopsticks by Jessica Anthony and illustrated by Rodrigo Corral. It's a graphic novel. I went into it thinking it was going to just be about a teenage romance and with all this artwork in it, but it's so much more, and I really recommend you reading it if you love graphic novels. It's beautiful. I don't have a copy of it, but I really want to get one someday. Graphic novels are kind of expensive for how long they are, how long you're going to be reading them, because I read it in one sitting. So I haven't bought it yet, but I checked it out at the library because it is free to just check it out at the library for whenever you aren't really sure about it, but I recommend checking it out. The next book I read was, I believe in April, A Work in Progress by Connor Franta. I just love the design of this book. This book was, my sister's reading this book. I read it so fast because it was just so easy to get hooked on. Writing is just so good. Connor is a natural writer, and I love this book. If he writes another book, I'm definitely going to pre-order it and read it right away, because I've started this book and I got halfway through. It's just one of those books for me. I recommend it if you're a fan of Connor. Non-fiction, and it's a memoir, so it's about his life, which is kind of why you would have to be a fan of Connor. I also really loved Shatter Me by Tahana Mafi. It is the first in the Shatter Me series, and I read it in June. I loved it. It was really good. I'm going to read Unravel Me. I have it sitting up higher on the stack of books that's on my my nightstand so that I don't forget to read it very soon, because it needs to be read. I read the first novella, which was Destroy Me, over the summer, and I have more of an appreciation for Warner, because at first when I first read this book, then I was just I don't really see why so many people like Warner, but I get it now. And if you haven't read this book, I do recommend it. It kind of reminds me of the Mara Dyer trilogy, and I think that's part of the reason why I like it, but it's very different. I also really love the cover designs as well. They're just, I have all of the books, and they're all just so beautiful. I can't pick a favorite cover. This was another book that kept me up reading really late into the night, 4 in the morning, and I really enjoyed this book. I'm pretty sure I give it 5 stars. I also read Me and Earl and the Dying Girl by Jessie Andrews. Beginning of July. It was a very fast read for me. It was a contemporary. I had a movie come out this past summer, and I haven't seen it yet, but I really want to. I don't own the book in physical form, but I have it on my Kindle, and I feel like that's part of the reason why I was reading really fast. I kind of got into reading on my Kindle a lot more over the summer. But yeah, it was very funny and lighthearted, sort of. I read Is Everyone Hanging Out Without Me and Other Concerns by Mindy Kaling, and I was going to do a book talk on it, but I didn't get the chance, and I don't think I'm going to do one now. But I have been thinking about buying her new book, Why Not Me? So maybe I'll do a book talk on that. Very insightful and so interesting because she wrote and acted in one of my favorite shows, The Office, and she's just a great person all around. So it was just really fun to read her memoir, and I can't wait to read more. It was like an achievement for me reading that book in a couple days. I don't know, I was proud of that. The next book is one that I have been reading. I'd been reading it for a really long time, and I was just like, I need to finish this book. It's good. I'm enjoying it every time I read it, but I just keep going back to other books. The Iron Trial by Holly Black and Cassandra Clare. It's the first in the Magisterium middle grade series, and I just love this cover. Something awesome about last year was I got this with my Barnes & Noble bookmarks. Wow. This is a signed copy from Barnes & Noble, and that's cool. I read The Spiderwick Chronicles by Holly Black, and I really enjoyed those books. They are middle grade, and I read them when I was in 6th grade, and so that was the last time I had read anything by Holly Black. And then I read this, and I also really love Cassandra Clare. If you don't already know that, it's my favorite. That's my favorite. Like, just the Shadowhunter stuff is my favorite. So I was like, yeah, I have to read this. So I started reading it in the summer before, like in September when it came out, but then that was on my Kindle, and I finished it with this book, and it was just so much better and easier to read because of the print. And now I'm actually listening to The Coldest Scroll in Cold Town, but I'm gonna finish that really soon because I am almost done. I gave it 4 stars on Goodreads. Next book is one that I don't own as well, but I do want to own it when I see the illustrations in person, like in physical form. A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness. Tragic story, but it's so interesting. I would read it on my phone through the Kindle app. It was the first book by Patrick Ness that I read, and it really makes me want to read more of his books because I've heard really great things about his books from Reagan on her channel Peruse Project. I really want to get more of his books, and I do want to own a copy of A Monster Calls, physical copy of it, because of the artwork. I feel like the Kindle didn't really, I couldn't see everything as clear, especially since it was on my phone. It was very sad. I love the story, and I'm really excited about the movie that's coming out because I saw the teaser trailer for it, and it looks so good. Like, it reminds me of Spiderwick, and it reminds me of A Series of Unfortunate Events. In Real Life by Cory Doctorow and Jen Wang. Really good. Like, I read it very fast. I didn't want to read it all in one sitting, so I split it up while I was reading it, and I just took breaks. Really like the artwork in this book. Great. Like, it's about gaming, there's feminism in it, empowerment, elements of poverty, and just people working together. And the last book I'm going to be talking about is another graphic novel, Through the Woods by Emily Carroll. I read this around Halloween time, and it's perfect for that time. It's just a series of short stories. I love the artwork in this book, by the way. Not really happy endings, and that's something that I really like about it. Pictures are pretty creepy sometimes, and it's not the scariest, but it is kind of spooky, and it's perfect for Halloween or if you're ever just in a spooky mood. And I'm pretty sure I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. Those are the books that I have favored this year. I recommend them to all of you. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll be back with another one soon. Bye!